In the 2019 election, if you remember, the Labour Party stood on a platform that was going to abolish OFSTED. Now, I think they ought to revive that idea and abolish OFSTED. They were going to replace it with what I think was a two-phase inspection system. I'm not quite sure what that would have involved. But OFSTED as a structure needs to go. It can't be restored by messing around and keeping it sort of changing its chief executive like Post Office Limited. These two organisations need to go, and because both organisations represent parts of our life that we consider important, teaching or schools and the post office. They need to be restructured, and they need new organisations, new branding, and an entirely new start. It's not simply a matter of moving around the chess pieces to reassure the public that these organisations, it's the organisations themselves which are the problems. The organisations themselves have caused death. They have blood on their hands. The only way to wash them clean is to start again. And the post office needs to be reunited with the Royal Mail, and the whole thing needs to be reformed. And the current versions of Royal Mail and Post Office Limited need to be dumped. And the same thing with Ofsted. Ofsted as a vehicle needs to be dumped, and all those Hangon teachers, the ex and current head teachers who thrive on being employed from school to school because they are Ofsted inspectors, and with a nod and a wink, I'm sure I've got my vowel right there, they manage to go from job to job because they are seen as useful in getting their respective schools through their next inspection. It's cheating, it's wrong, they are useless, and they are only so good as the next inspection, and then they're off to yet another school. I've seen it. And these people do not deserve the time. And it's these people who are judging the schools, who are making real head teachers' lives an absolute and utter misery. And their tick box of things that Ofsted inspectors are looking for. What utter rubbish! What utter rubbish! There is only one thing that a school inspector should be looking for, and that is excellence. Excellence in the teaching staff. Excellence encouraged throughout the school. And if there are bureaucratic concerns, an organisation needs to be there to support those issues and to help to rectify them, not to mark somebody down because they've failed to do this or they've failed to tick that box. This is an absurd form of box ticking. It's an absurd way to control education. It's an absurd way to control the post office. The same sort of issue. The failure of bureaucracy is not a failure of the individual, it's a failure of the bureaucracy. And most of the time the bureaucracy is incomprehensible. And there's no point in just simply repeating the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy does not work. The same could be said of the NHS, but I'm not sure what system can replace what is already there. The NHS needs most of its bureaucrats removing. So, I think the Labour Party, it knows it's going to get into power. Maybe now is the time for it to do a bit of good and to commit to abolishing Ofsted.